I still remember exactly where I was when my world imploded. Wednesday afternoon, 2:37 p.m. I was sitting in my office, finishing up a conference call with our biggest client, when my phone buzzed. A text from Eliza, my wife of 8 years. I want a divorce. All communication through my lawyer from now on. He'll be in touch. That was it. No explanation. No argument leading up to it. Just 17 cold words that ended 8 years of what I thought was a happy marriage. I stared at my phone, reading and rereading the message, wondering if this was some kind of sick joke. We'd had dinner together just the night before, laughing about some ridiculous reality TV show. I called her immediately, but it went straight to voicemail. I texted back, "What? Can we please talk about this?" No response. I tried calling again. Straight to voicemail. Finally, I sent one last text. Understood. If this was how she wanted to play it, fine. Two could play that game. I've always been the practical type. Once the initial shock wore off, my mind shifted to logistics. Our finances were intricately connected, joint accounts, shared credit cards, investments. I was the primary breadwinner. My software development company had done well over the past 5 years. Eliza worked part-time as a yoga instructor, but her passion was shopping and social media influencing. As I sat there, a strange calm came over me. If she wanted to communicate only through lawyers, that was her choice. But I wasn't about to finance her lifestyle while she plotted against me. I called my bank first. As the primary account holder, I had them freeze our joint accounts and remove her access. Next, I called the credit card companies, canceled her cards as an authorized user on my accounts. I moved half of our savings to a new account in my name only, leaving her half untouched. I'm not a monster, and contacted our investment broker to temporarily halt any withdrawals without dual authorization. All this took about 2 hours. By 5 p.m., I had effectively cut off her access to roughly 85% of our household income and credit lines. Was it petty? Maybe. Was it legal? According to my hasty Google searches, yes, at least until a court ordered otherwise. Was it the right thing to do? That I wasn't sure about, but her cold text message kept replaying in my mind. All communication through my lawyer. Fine. That night, I slept at a hotel. I didn't want to be home when she realized what I'd done. I turned off my phone and ordered room service. For the first time since reading her text, I allowed myself to feel something. Anger, betrayal, confusion, grief. I cycled through emotions like TV channels, unable to settle on just one. The next morning, I turned my phone back on to find 37 missed calls and 29 text messages. Most from Eliza, growing increasingly frantic. The last one simply read, "What the hell did you do to our accounts?" I didn't respond. All communication through her lawyer, right? I checked into a different hotel the next day, paying cash. I didn't want to be found until I was ready. I contacted my own lawyer, Jared, an old college friend who specialized in divorce cases. When I explained the situation, he let out a low whistle. "Bold move, cutting off the finances so quickly," he said. "Not illegal per se, especially since you left her access to half the savings, but judges don't typically love it." Still, her text message approach wasn't exactly taking the high road either. I forwarded him screenshots of everything. Her text, my response, the barrage of messages that followed. By noon, he had drafted a formal response to be sent to her lawyer once they reached out. In the meantime, I tried to focus on work, but found myself staring at my phone instead. By the afternoon of day 2, Eliza had recruited her sister and mother to the cause. My phone exploded with their messages, ranging from concerned to threatening. I sent them both the same reply. As per Eliza's request, all communication needs to go through her lawyer. Her sister Diane called me a heartless bastard. Her mother suggested I would regret being so petty. I turned my phone to silent and tried to lose myself in coding. It didn't work. That evening, I got the first email from her lawyer, a certain Richard Hoffman. The message was brief and professional, requesting an immediate restoration of financial access pending divorce proceedings and suggesting we set up a meeting to discuss temporary arrangements. I forwarded it to Jared without response. "Let's wait," Jared advised. "We're not ignoring them, just taking our time." They fired the first shot with that text. Let them sweat a little. Day 3 dawned, and I finally returned to our house, knowing Eliza would be teaching her morning yoga classes. I packed several suitcases with my essential belongings and important documents. On the kitchen counter, I left a note with Jared's contact information. As I was loading my car, our neighbor Mrs. Peterson waved at me from across the street. "Everything okay?" "Eliza seemed quite upset yesterday," she called out. "Just a little disagreement," I replied with a forced smile. "It'll work itself out." By afternoon, Richard Hoffman had sent 3 more increasingly urgent emails. The last one hinted at emergency court filings if I didn't respond. Jared found this amusing. "They're bluffing," he said. "Courts don't work that fast, and they know it." Plus, it's been what, 3 days? No judge would consider this an emergency yet. At exactly 72 hours after Eliza's initial text, my phone rang. A number I didn't recognize. I let it go to voicemail, then listened immediately. This is Richard Hoffman, representing Elizabeth Chun. Please call me back as soon as possible to discuss an urgent matter regarding your finances. My client is willing to discuss more amenable arrangements for communication during this process. 15 minutes later, he called again. Then again. On the fourth call, Jared suggested I answer. Hello, Mr. Hoffman, I said calmly when the phone rang again. Mr. Chun, thank you for answering, he sounded relieved. I've been trying to reach you regarding your wife's financial situation. She's unable to access funds for basic necessities, which is creating an untenable living situation. I'm just following my wife's explicit instructions, I replied. All communication through her lawyer, which is you. So what would you like to communicate? There was a pause, then a sigh. My client would like to revise her communication preferences. I'm listening. I kept my voice neutral, though my heart was pounding. Perhaps we could arrange a meeting with both parties present, Hoffman suggested, his tone considerably more conciliatory than his emails. My client recognizes that her approach may have been abrupt. Abrupt, I repeated. Is that the word she used? Another pause. She's willing to discuss matters directly if you'll restore some financial access. I glanced at Jared, who was sitting across from me in his office. He scribbled something on a notepad. Asked T.O. speak with her. I'd like to speak with Eliza first, I said, before any meetings or financial changes. Hoffman cleared his throat. I'll see if she's available. 10 minutes later, my phone rang again. This time, it was Eliza. David, she said, her voice small. Can we please talk? We arranged to meet at a neutral location, a coffee shop downtown. Jared advised me not to agree to anything without consulting him first, but I needed to hear her out. When I arrived, Eliza was already there, looking disheveled in a way I'd rarely seen her. Her normally perfect hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail, and she wasn't wearing makeup. Thank you for coming, she said as I sat down. You wanted a divorce, I replied. What changed? She looked down at her untouched coffee. I made a mistake. I was angry and influenced by bad advice. Slowly, the story emerged. Her friend Charlotte had recently gone through a power move divorce, where she blindsided her husband with papers and walked away with a significant settlement. Charlotte had convinced Eliza that surprising me would give her leverage, that cutting off communication would make me desperate to negotiate. But you didn't react like Charlotte's ex, Eliza said. Instead of begging, you just adapted. Did you actually want a divorce? I asked, the question that had been haunting me for 3 days. She hesitated. I was unhappy. But no, I don't think I wanted to end our marriage. I wanted your attention. You've been so focused on work. There was truth in that. My company had consumed me for months. So this was a manipulation tactic? I asked, trying to keep the hurt from my voice. It sounds terrible when you put it that way, she whispered. But yes, and it backfired spectacularly. I sat back, processing this. Part of me wanted to walk away right then. Another part remembered 8 mostly good years together. I really do love you, she said, reaching for my hand. Please, can we try to fix this? I studied her face, looking for signs of deception. All I saw was desperation and regret. Was this genuine remorse or just financial panic? You're very smart, Eliza, I said finally. Smart enough to know that trust, once broken, is hard to rebuild. She nodded, tears forming. I know. I'll do whatever it takes. We talked for 3 hours in that coffee shop. About her unhappiness, my workaholic tendencies, the influence of her toxic friend Charlotte. About what we both wanted from life and from each other. The next day, I restored limited financial access and moved back home, but into the guest room. We started marriage counseling the following week. I set clear boundaries. One more manipulation tactic and I'd file for divorce myself. It's been 6 months now. We're still in counseling. The trust is rebuilding, slowly. Eliza cut ties with Charlotte and started focusing on her own career goals rather than Instagram perfection. I've scaled back my work hours. I don't know if our marriage will survive long term, but I do know this. That text message taught us both valuable lessons. For Eliza, that manipulation tactics can backfire catastrophically. And for me, that sometimes the person you think you know best can surprise you. For worse, but occasionally, also for better.